421, the other half of the case. Let's see if we can get a 2 Demidov case out of this one. We should have I would say, I think it's 3 or 4 Young Gun canvases. There should be one of the silver Outburst Young Guns. So still lots of potential in this case. We got a Bustle of Sherwood for Vancouver. We got a Frank Young Guns for Washington. And a Cup Quest McCann for Seattle. We got a Sizzle Sparkle Evangelista for Nashville. Patterson Vancouver Canvas. And a Blue Jackets Portraits Werenski. We got an Encore Barbashev for Vegas. Tracking Systems for Carolina Kochetkov. And a Young Guns of Perot for the Rangers. We got a Sizzle of Bobrovsky for Florida. Young Guns for Seattle of Osman. And we got a Hagel for Tampa Portraits. Outburst Silver of Myers for Vancouver. Compadres for Winnipeg. And we've got a Forsberg Compositions for Nashville. Canvas for the Red Wings of Larkin. Young Guns of Ford for Winnipeg. Goal-oriented Caulfield for Montreal. Dazzlers of Fox for the Rangers. Nason for the Devils Canvas. And a Compositions of Beniers for Seattle. Encore Draisaitl for the Oilers. Kopitar Composition Sparkle for LA. Sizzle Matthews Maple Leafs. Population Count 1,000 Bouchard for the Oilers. Encore Beniers for Seattle. And a Thompson for Washington. Tracking Systems. Dazzlers Pink Variant. Demidov for Montreal. Bustle of Hudson for Montreal. And a Cup Quest of Meyer for the Devils. Well, that pink is pretty sweet. Canvas Sanheim for Philly. Young Guns of Wash for Anaheim. Portraits of Dougie Hamilton for New Jersey. We've got a Young Guns Canvas Black and White variant. Matthew Wood for the Nashville Predators. Encore Faber for Minnesota. And a Tracking Systems of Askarov for San Jose. I was going to say Nashville, but not anymore. We've got a Young Guns of Lev Shunov for the Chicago Blackhawks. A Bustle of Stankoven for Carolina. And a Portraits for Calgary of Nazem Kadri. Sizzle Sparkle Bouchard for the Oilers. Canvas of Joseph Wool for the Leafs. And a Compositions of Toffoli for the Sharks. We got an Encore for Washington of Carlson. Tracking Systems for Florida, Bobrovsky. And a Young Guns Suzuki for Montreal. Sorry, for Carolina. Outburst Silver for the Avalanche of O'Connor. Compadres for Tampa. And a Cup Quest of Bedard for Chicago. Sizzle of Ovechkin for the Caps. Weisblatt for Nashville Young Guns. And a Matthews for the Maple Leafs, goal-oriented. Canvas of Zari for Calgary. Koivunen for Pittsburgh Young Guns. Eklund for the San Jose Sharks, portraits. We've got a Dazzlers of Dvorsky for the Blues. Canvas of Kachuk for Ottawa. Compositions for LA of Kopitar. Encore for Vegas of William Karlsson. Composition Sparkle of Quinn Hughes for Vancouver. And a Luke Hughes for the Devils. Sizzle. Encore of Jenner for the Jackets. Tracking of Dostal for the Ducks. Gatcomb for the Islanders Young Guns. Population count 1,000. Matthew Nyes for the Leafs. Bustle of Gensel for Tampa. Cup Quest Shesterkin for the Rangers. Canvas Young Guns to go with your black and white variant. Wood for Nashville. Nyman Young Guns for Seattle. And a portrait of Makar for Colorado. Another black and white canvas for Minnesota of Kaprizov. Encore Scheifele for the Jets. And a Sorokin for the Islanders tracking systems. All right. Well, that Demodov was very sexy so far. Holy moly. We've got a sizzle of Kachuk for Ottawa. Young Guns, which will be a random of Demodov and Levshunov. And a compositions of Rossi for Minnesota. We've got a Bustle Sparkle of Holloway for the Blues. Canvas Perfetti for the Jets. Goal-oriented of Brady Kachuk for Ottawa. Encore for Pittsburgh of Karlsson. Tracking of Joey Decord for Seattle. Young Guns for the Buffalo Sabres of Ostlund. We've got a Compadres for Nashville. Robida Young Guns for Carolina. And a Cup Quest Kreider for the Rangers. Outburst Silver for the Seattle Kraken Beniers. Bustle of Tuck for Buffalo. Portraits of Bedard for Chicago. Dazzlers of Draisaitl for the Oilers. Canvas of Makar for the Avs. And an Osland for Buffalo portraits. Canvas of Barzal for the Islanders. Gotcher, Young Guns for Philadelphia. And a McDavid compositions for the Oilers. We got an Encore of Wolf for Calgary. Goal-oriented Sparkle of Matthews for the Leafs. And a Montembeault for Montreal tracking systems. Encore of Hyman for the Oilers. Sizzle of Pasternak for Boston. And a Young Guns of Shine for the Red Wings. We got a Dazzlers pink variant for the Red Wings of Raymond. Sizzle of Reinhardt for Florida. And a goal-oriented of William Nylander for the Maple Leafs. Young Guns canvas for Chicago of Doc. Young Guns of Pedersen for Vancouver. And Elaine Hudson for the Montreal Canadiens compositions. Encore blue of Terry for the Ducks. Perfetti for the Jets Encore. Tracking systems of Olmark for Ottawa. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do some fun promos after this to get some other breaks going. So be ready for that. We've got a Compadres for Florida. We got a Gotcher Young Guns for Philadelphia. And a Keller for the Utah Mammoth compositions. Sparkle Tracking System. Saros for the Preds. Canvas Crosby for the Pens. And a goal-oriented of Nathan McKinnon for the Avalanche. We got an Encores of Benishad for the Rangers. Sizzle of Nyes for the Leafs. Young Guns for Philadelphia of Dorwart. Outburst Silver for the Avalanche of Blackwood. Sizzle of Johnston for Dallas. And for Buffalo, Tage Thompson Portraits. Bustle of Jarvis for Carolina. A Young Guns of Ostlund for Buffalo. And a Hopkins for the Oilers Cup Quest. Hughes canvas for the Devils. Rinzel for Chicago Young Guns. Compositions of Stützle for Ottawa. We got a Dazzlers of Eichel for Vegas. We got a canvas for Chicago Bedard. And a Matthews Portraits for the Maple Leafs. Encore Riley for the Leafs. Kaprizov goal-oriented Sparkle for Minnesota. And a Tracking Systems of Gustafsson for the Minnesota Wild. Encore Kucherov for Tampa. Compadres for the Avalanche. And a more Young Guns for the Anaheim Ducks. You're here until the Leafs start. What time is that? 7 or 7:30 tonight? We've got a Young Guns exclusives. Koivunen. Number to 100. Young Guns exclusives. That's pretty sweet. Sizzle of Marshman for Dallas. And a goal-oriented of Bratt for the Devils. We got a canvas Young Guns for the Oilers of Rodriguez. Finley Young Guns for Tampa. Ovechkin compositions for Washington. And a black and white canvas for the Oilers of Draisaitl. Encore of Blackwood for the Avalanche. And a Holloway for the Blues. Bustle. That is a sweet hit. Yep, a Young Guns exclusives. And a Demidov pink. And I think we have 2 of the population counts. So, if by chance we can get a second Demidov, this would be a pretty damn good case overall. We've got a Compadres for New Jersey. A Lund for the Sharks Young Guns. Cup Quest for LA of Kempe. Bustle Sparkle for Calgary of Kadri. We got a Seattle Kako canvas and a Portraits for Dallas of Wyatt Johnston. We got an Encore of Sanheim for Philly. A Sizzle of Hughes for Vancouver. And a Mazur Young Guns for the Red Wings. Outburst Silver Young Guns for the Boston Bruins of Callahan. A Sizzle of McKinnon for the Avalanche. And a goal-oriented Marchenko for the Blue Jackets. Bustle of Kachuk for Ottawa. A Perek Young Guns for Calgary. And a Cup Quest of Hellebuck for the Jets. We got a Dazzlers of Raymond for the Red Wings. A canvas of Comfer for the Red Wings. And a Portrait of Brent Clark for the LA Kings. Canvas of Sherwood for Vancouver. Another random, but that's good because we got 1 of each. And a compositions of Robert Thomas for the Blues. Encore Forsberg for the Preds. Tracking Systems for Boston of Swayman. Quinn Hudson for the Oilers Young Guns. Encore for the Avalanche Makar. Cup Quest Sparkle for a Buffalo of Thompson. And a Urson for Philadelphia. Tracking Systems. We got a red compositions to 199. Pasternak for Boston. Compadres for San Jose. And a compositions for Winnipeg. Kyle Connor. Young Guns canvas for Seattle of Nyman. Young Guns of Frank for Washington. Goal-oriented of Braden Point for Tampa. Clear Cut Celebrini for San Jose. Encore Cider for the Red Wings. And a Sizzle Forsberg Nashville. Sizzle. Forsberg. All right. We've got a Compadres for the Red Wings. We got an Islanders Young Guns of Skarek and a goal-oriented of McDavid for the Oilers. Tracking System Sparkle Merzlikins for the Jackets. Canvas for Vegas of Eichel. And a Carlson for the Penguins compositions. Encore for Ottawa of Batherson. Sizzle for the Oilers of Draisaitl. Young Guns for the Calgary Flames, Parek. We've got a Bustle for Minnesota of Boldy. Doc for Chicago Young Guns. Compositions for the Panthers of Matthew Tkachuk. Another Outburst Silver Young Guns of Duke for Tampa. Duke, Tampa Bay. Sizzle of Kent Johnson for the Jackets. And a Cup Quest for Dallas, Robertson. We've got a Dazzlers of Marchesso for Vegas. Or Nashville, sorry. Aho Canvas for Carolina. Goal-oriented of Raymond for the Red Wings. Canvas for the Jackets of Marchenko. Rinzel Young Guns for Chicago. And a Matthew Wood for Nashville Portraits. Encore for Buffalo of Tage Thompson. Tracking Systems of Wolf for Calgary. And a Young Guns for Philadelphia of Abels. Encore of Gauthier for Anaheim. Cup Quest for the Rangers Sparkle of Shesterkin. And a Grubauer for Seattle. Tracking Systems. Exclusives for the Ottawa Senators of Olmark. Compadres for Carolina. Marchesso portraits for Nashville. Canvas Young Guns for Nashville. Weisblot. Young Guns of Hudson for the Oilers. And a Celebrini composition for the Sharks. Clear Cut of Manson for the Avs. Encore Eklund for the Sharks. Sizzle for Anaheim, McTavish.